Yes, it is me. And I've got an interesting one this week. So, you get all these great political speeches like Martin Luther King famously said, "I have a dream." Well, this week, some protesters started their famous political speech with, "Today we're in Lidl." And they later went on to say, "These baby wipes are contaminated with genocide." Well, this is protesters, anti-Israel or pro-Palestine protesters, depending on how you look at it, who have decided to take products off the shelves because they have in some way a link to the State of Israel. Let's take a look at the clip.
This is a customer announcement. Today we're in Lidl on the Blacks Road to highlight the fact that Lidl are selling Israeli products in the store.
These new baby wipes are contaminated with genocide.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Occupation no more.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Israel is a terrorist state.
Free, free.
Palestine.
Free, free.
Palestine.
Free, free.
Palestine.
Well, if only Nelson Mandela were here to see their brave protests in the aisles of Asda. Now, we have a big issue with this at the moment, which is the civil disobedience of trying to disrupt other people's lives. And I've defended some of it. I think some of what Extinction Rebellion did at one point was really powerful. It obviously changed the debate. There's just no disputing that it worked on that level. But where do you draw the line?
Everyone hate them.
So I'd say to Emma, what do you think about this? I mean, do they have a right to march in the streets of Sainsbury's?
I'm getting the sense, Benjamin, that you're in favour of this stuff when you agree with it and against it when you don't. No, I mean, I think these people are ridiculous.
It's
and
all right,
I think
Emma, he doesn't shop in Lidl.
I know, of course not. No, we'll be taking the wet wipes off of M&S's shelves. No, I mean, I think that obviously people have a right to protest, but people don't have a right to commit crimes in the act of protesting. They don't have the right to go into shops, into private properties and be disruptive like that. And I also think that fundamentally BDS, the boycott, divestment, sanctions movement that wants to boycott Israeli goods, I think, yes, I do agree that you can criticise Israel without being anti-Semitic. There are lots of people in Israel who are critical of the Israeli government, but I definitely think that there is an aspect to BDS that is anti-Semitic.
I think some of that lot, if it sounds like they have Ulster accents, so I'm going to assume that they vote for one party and one party only, and that's Sinn Féin, and therefore, if that's the case, well...
I mean, Albie, are you part of Baby Wipes Against Genocide?
No, of course I'm not part of Baby Wipes Against Genocide, but I do just want to say I find it extremely irritating when people infer that people who are supportive of the Free Palestine movement are inherently anti-Semitic in some way, shape or form. It is perfectly... Hang on before you come in.
I was just going to say, people imply, you infer.
It is... Whatever, thank you. People imply that people who support Free Palestine are anti-Semitic. It is perfectly possible, as you mentioned, Emma, to be critical of the State of Israel and what they are doing in Gaza, which is awful, and also what they're doing in the West Bank, which is awful. You can be critical of those things without being anti-Semitic. And I think it doesn't do anything to bring down the tensions when you just say someone you disagree with is anti-Semitic or someone else that you disagree with is Islamophobic, when actually they are making points which are perfectly reasonable. It's perfectly reasonable to be critical of what's happening in Israel and Gaza, and it's not anti-Semitic to say so.
Unfortunately, that's not what a lot of the protesters are doing.
Quite remarkable between anti-Semites and people that hate Israel and will back, monstrous child murderers instead.
It's a Venn diagram.
I think that the editor of the Jewish Chronicle, Jake Simmons, that's it. He shared this, and he said the oldest hatred is back. And frankly, that image of people going around shops, taking off the most pathetic product, baby wipes, for God's sake, and soda streams, and saying that you can't have those because they're linked to Israel.
Ridiculous.
I mean, that gives echoes of people going around and smashing up Jewish businesses in Nazi Germany.
It's not new, though. I used to, when I was 16, 17, used to work for a water company, and we'd have, no joke, hundreds and hundreds of customers every couple of months wanting to change their water meters because the existing ones, and they probably still are now, made by Israeli companies. So it's not new, and that was like 15, 16
And yet they're all on their iPhones, and where does that technology come from? Israel.
So what's the point in that comment? I'm not really sure what your point is. Are you saying everyone that protests against the horrors that are going on in Gaza is anti-Semitic, and so all of those people in that supermarket, even though they were doing stupid things, we can all agree with that, are somehow inherently anti-Semitic? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I would be intrigued as to know whether Jewish businesses that have no link necessarily to Israel get the same response. Because we know that on October 8th, I went to North London as a reporter to go to a Jewish-owned restaurant that had had its windows smashed in and that they'd had Free Palestine graffitied opposite it. I think that is the reality that a lot of Jewish people are facing in this country, and it's not really about Israel.